Today's episode is brought to you by the Vegas Beer Guys. Mike and Tom are washing their mouths out with soap because the Everything Sequel podcast contains explicit language. Hello and welcome to the Everything Sequel podcast. This is the Tremors edition. We are pitching sequels today. My name is Michael Shantz. I am from the How Dare You Awards. With me, of course, as always, your friend and mine, the badass Brit, Tom Stewart. Give it to me, Tom.
I feel I was denied critical need-to-know information. I thought we had to have at least one outing of that.
Absolutely.
It's the line that ties together the franchise, I think.
Well, it sure as hell is going to be in my pitch a sequel. I can tell you that much.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I might as well give away the fact that it is also in mine. So I'm very interested. I like the idea that we both built sequels around that line, which seems to me to be what has happened. I certainly have.
I don't know if it's really. I don't. Clearly, you have. Yes. I don't know that my entire sequel is built upon it, but it is at play.
Good to hear.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are pitching sequels to the Tremors series. If you've stuck with us this long, you got to be willing to hear our pitches. We've conservatively gone through about 4 months worth of Tremors films.
Yeah.
So,
and your reward is you get to hear about an entirely fictitious one.
Yeah, you get to vote on which one of these fabulous fucking pitches you'd like to see made into a what is it? An 8th film.
A part 8, yeah, and I think
a 7th sequel.
This is the most challenging one yet, I think.
I agree. I had to ruminate on this for a while.
Agreed, and I mean,
and there were different incarnations. Like, I had at least 3, maybe even 4 pitch ideas.
Yeah.
And I was going to come to the table with at least 2 of them. And then I thought, you know what? No, like I really got to whittle down the things that I want in one more sequel.
That's interesting. I had a similar process. However, I may have done less editing than you.
As always.
But the reason why I think this was so challenging is partly because, Shrieker Island was 2020. So we're right up to date. It's such a strong entry in the series. Unlike other franchises we've pitched sequels for, the producers of these movies don't need our help. They know what they're doing.
True.
They're still making good movies. And also, Shrieker Island, if they wanted to stop there, would be a perfect movie to do that with.
Well, and that's the other thing, is that I think that movie was built to end the series.
Yes.
That's how it feels.
It does.
Because Bert's a goner, supposedly, by the end.
Right.
And what is this franchise without Michael Gross?
Exactly. And
which was a really hard question for me to address in my pitch, by the way.
Yeah, and I had to go an entirely different route. I had to take Tremors out of the equation to do it. And you mentioned that this was a part 8, and we've never pitched a part 8 before. So my process was to look at what part 8s look like in other big horror franchises. And
there's not many of them, right?
Right.
So
but in the 3 possibly biggest
Friday
horror
the 13th.
franchises made it to 8 at least.
Mm-hmm.
In Nightmare on Elm Street, it's Freddy versus Jason.
Right.
In Halloween, if you take out Halloween 3, it's Halloween Resurrection.
Resurrection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in Friday the 13th, it's Jason Takes Manhattan.
Isn't it Manhattan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So those were the movies that I was drawing inspiration from when I wrote this pitch.
Did you watch all of them?
No, I have
or
seen.
Or were you going off of memory?
I have seen all of those movies fairly recently, and let's face it, their formula is not a secret. Right?
That's great.
So that's
all right.
That's the basis. That's more the basis of my pitch than trying to kind of continue the Tremors timeline.
Well, fucking A. Hit me with it.
Okay.
I want it.
So the title of my pitch is, and I had to write this down, it's so complicated.
Of course it is. Are we switching numbers around? Do numbers stand for letters?
There might be a little bit of that, yeah.
All right, then.
Tremors 8, spelt ATE, 8, colon, Graboids versus Godzillas in Tokyo,
Oh, my shit.
semicolon, Resurrection. So.
Oh, shit.
This movie begins. I'm just going to refer to it as this movie. I'm not saying that title every time. I'm not.
No, please don't.
And it would take too long to even abbreviate it, so I'm not going to do that either.
We don't have the time, Tom.
We don't have the time. It begins, as does Tremors 5 Bloodlines.
Great movie.
As a reality show. The reality show is National Geographic's Locked Up Abroad, or whatever public domain equivalent this series can afford to manufacture.
All right.
And the episode is about Jamie Kennedy's Travis and his time in a Mexican prison, which we heard about in Shrieker Island.
Shrieker Island, right.
So we see, what happened in that prison. The last thing we see is a talking head of Travis, played by Jamie Kennedy, saying that, no matter what I went through in this year, the worst thing was that I was away from my father when he died.
Right.
So then we jump cut from his talking head to him in the studio filming the interview. He's taking his mic off, and then the producer of the show comes over to him with his iPhone and says, "Hey, I know you fought Graboids before. Have you seen this Japanese game show called Smash and Graboid?" Which is like an extreme physical challenge game show. It's like The Floor is Lava, but the floor is
lava. Yeah, I was just gonna say.
But the floor is Graboids. So if you fail at anything, you end up being eaten by a Graboid. And these Graboids have been bred in captivity from eggs sold on the black market, again, that we've heard about in previous sequels.
I'd also like a separate movie involving the legalities of how that show got made.
Don't worry, you are covered. Because when Travis sees the YouTube clips of the show, he goes straight to Tokyo where this is being filmed to warn the producers of the show. You might think you're on top of this. You might think this is a safe environment, but you are wrong. You've got to stop the show. And
see, I thought maybe it would be to make money doing the show.
Well, yeah, but
that would seem more in line with Travis's character.
Mexican prison has changed him. He's a different man now.
Ah, okay. All right.
As does it all. As it does with us all.
Yes. Yeah.
So he goes straight to Tokyo. He just runs on. He bursts into the set, breaks in the middle of filming, and he's talking to the director, saying, "You have to stop this now. You really have to stop this." The director doesn't speak English. He's like, "Oh, get the girl over who speaks English," and so we have like a half Japanese, half American female character who will become a love interest for Travis.
Of course.
I'm thinking Maggie Q, maybe, if we can get her, or Tia Carrera.
If we can get her.
And if you want to cast both and find some way for them both to be this character, I'm open to that. Let's not close any doors right now. But anyway,
Heard.
this is she's able. He registers his complaint. She's like, "Look, I'm under an NDA. I can't tell you about anything here, but let me assure you, this is safer than it looks. Okay? It's like these people have signed a contract. They know what they're getting into. Everyone's happy with this. There's no problem here." And Travis is like, I don't. It's like, I don't care that these people are essentially committing suicide. I care that the ramifications of this are going to be huge. You don't know what these monsters are capable of. By just letting them run riot.
They can even kill Burt Gummer,
yeah,
which we didn't think was possible.
Exactly, and he uses that line of dialogue. So then he's like, let me take you out to dinner. I'll explain to you what these graboids really are. They go out to dinner, and she's like, look, I can't, I could explain to you why this is safe, but I can't tell you because I'm under an NDA. Which is a non-disclosure agreement for those who are not in the biz.
Don't condescend to me, sir. I know.
Well, I know you
NDA
know,
is,
but
okay.
But Mavis in Littlehampton doesn't know, and she's a big fan of this show.
The only probably.
So
don't alienate her.
So they go to dinner. He's like, well, no court in the land would convict you if you happen to scream it out during sex. And so Travis is not. Mexican prison hasn't entirely changed him.
No, I was just, yeah.
So the next thing we see, they're in bed together. He's like, tell me, tell me, and she's about to burst out and say it in ecstasy. Earthquake caused by the graboids. Earthquake hits causes a tsunami around Okinawa. Godzillas that have laid dormant in the water for centuries appear. And then...
More than one?
Yeah. Let me remind you, the title is Tremors 8, ATE, Graboids versus Godzillas in Tokyo, Resurrection. So...
I forgot the salient details.
It's all in the grammar. So a lot of this movie is, a prolonged battle between the graboids and the Godzillas. And thinking about Freddy versus Jason, they're always, when you have these two big monsters fighting each other, it's always kind of a draw in the end, Mm-hmm. It's like no one can. You want, if you're backing Team Graboid, you'll be happy. If you're backing Team Godzilla, you'll be happy. But what happens in the middle of this is that Travis gets eaten by a Graboid. And
oh no!
Yeah, and he's gone. Died.
Say it isn't so.
Died like his father. So they're clearing up at the end, and Maggie Q, stroke Tia Carrera, is she's sort of saying, what happened to Travis? And one of the cameramen says, oh, I've got it on film. He was eaten by a graboid. And she looks at the footage. She's like, get him to a hospital now. And it's like, but he's inside the graboid. It's like, I don't care. Get him there. Turns out the thing she was trying to keep secret was that these graboids have been bred to incubate humans inside them.
Yeah.
So when they're swallowed, they're kept alive, and then the graboid is cut open and the human comes out. That's why these contestants are happy to go in there because they know they're going to survive. They're just going to be in a graboid for a little bit of time. So they get Travis, they pull him out just in the nick of time. The incubation period is ending. They pull him out with seconds to spare. He and his love interest have a reconciliation, and she happens to mention in one of their conversations that he said, how did you genetically engineer graboids to do this? And she's like, oh well, we figured it out. We sent a few of them off to an island to do experiments on them, and we bred them there. And he's like, what's the name of that island? gets shaking up by the shoulders. What's the name of that island? And it's the island from Shrieker Island.
Oh.
So the next thing we see, Travis in a speedboat heading to the island. He goes to his father's grave. The Cubs cap is gone. He talks to the natives. The natives talk of the legend of the man cub, who defends them against the graboids, but no one knows who he is. Who's this mysterious man? They say he appears at dawn on a mountain. So Travis does like 40 days, 40 nights, sleeping on the mountain, waiting every dawn to see if what he hopes is his father's going to be there. And then on like the 41st day, he's about to leave. He looks up, the silhouette of Burt Gummer appears over him. Travis says, "Where have you been all this time, Dad?" And he turns around and says, "That is critical, need to know information. Fade to black."
Done. Oh, that's a delight.
So there you go. I think that ticks a lot of boxes.
Sure. How could it not?
I think it would be if I were actually pitching this, it would be easier for the studio to just give me an application form, and for me just like franchise tick, Burt Gummer back tick.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, and that's the biggest thing in the pitching of the sequel was this idea of, do you stick with what the last movie did? Is Burt Gummer gone?
Yeah.
If you bring him back, how do you bring him back?
Mm-hmm.
And there are no easy answers based on how they ended that movie.
Nor in the way
let me ask you this.
That I ended mine.
Well, let me ask you this. How did Burt, because it wasn't just that he got swallowed, it was that he got swallowed and then it fell down over a cliff and then exploded. Is there an answer for that?
That was a different graboid. Again, I'm thinking of the beginning of Halloween Resurrection, where it's revealed that that even though we saw Michael Myers beheaded in the previous movie, that Michael Myers kidnapped an EMT, cut out his tongue, and put him in a Michael Myers mask. And something similar is happening here. It was just a different graboid that blew up.
Okay.
The real graboid survived, and Burt was incubated inside him because he was one of those Japanese TV genetically engineered graboids. Obviously.
Fantastic. Obviously.
And that's what I mean about taking inspiration from these part 8s. I realize that it just leaves so much on the cards if you think about those movies rather than Tremors, which is fairly doesn't divert from plausibility as much as you might think. Mm-hmm. Especially not compared to other franchises that have gone on that long.
All right. I'm a fan.
Oh, good.
But
yeah,
let's see if people like this idea more than that one. My sequel is called Tremors. Mm-hmm. Also, I abandoned numbers.
I like it so far.
Because they abandoned numbers.
Yeah, they do.
Cold Day in Hell, Shrieker Island, Tremors, Back to Perfection, comma, again. So, the idea for me is that idea for me is we are back for Burt's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And we are getting the band back together. So my original idea was I will stick with what they did at the end of Shrieker Island, and I will keep Burt dead. which is daunting.
Mm-hmm.
Because how do you have a Tremors movie without Burt Gummer? 2 words, Reba McEntire. Reba McEntire is back.
Wow. Okay.
As is Travis B. Welker, his mom, and Jimmy. Now, I also had a cold open idea in which Fred Ward, Kevin Bacon, Kevin Bacon's wife, and Kevin Bacon's daughter are all there for the funeral as well.
As Force ghosts?
Well, no, the idea was that the cold open would be that they all get eaten.
That's great.
Yeah.
Like
those 4 people.
Like the original opening to Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. No, the original opening to Once Upon a Time in the West was supposed to be...
Yeah, I also had this idea of a kind of... remember in Alien 3? When she's trying to convince them that something wicked is this way coming, and somebody gets taken up through the vents, and one of them, I don't know if it's Pete Postlethwaite or not, but one of them says, "Fuck!"
One of those bold northern men who populate that movie.
So I have this idea that those 4 get eaten.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I like it a lot.
Cold open. Now, the only problem story-wise is now it's like, do you have to have funerals for them? Or, but we're still there for Burt Gummer's funeral.
It's going to be like the Simpsons episode with the cat that keeps dying.
Yeah.
And we keep cutting to cat funerals.
Well, so at Burt's funeral... They discover that a letter was left by Burt to be read at his funeral.
Yeah. Smart.
So, it starts with letting him know that he has left a great deal of silver, all of his money, and his prized possession guns at the bottom of the bottom dollar mine.
Right, yeah, okay. I see where perfection's coming back into this now. It's interesting.
Right. But warns them that when he hit it, that he was confronted by dirt dragons and graboids, so that they must be careful. And he lets them know, please understand, I am giving you the critical need to know information.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie is them trying to, Reba wants one of the prized possession guns. Travis, of course, wants the money and the silver. I have this whole bit at the beginning in which, Travis B. Welker says, announces, like, I'm his son at the funeral. And Reba McEntire says, that's funny. I don't remember anybody leaving my vagina.
That's good.
To which he,
wow, you got dialogue already.
Introduces him to his mother. So Reba finds out that Burt had a tryst in Florida.
Yeah.
Which, of course, she says, son of a... And she gets really mad. But then you have a competition between Travis and Jimmy. Because Travis is his son, and Jimmy keeps saying things like, I'm like a son to him. I kind of became his son.
Yeah.
So you have that competition, and it's all... They all want to get Burt's stuff to sort of declare themselves as the true heir of Burt Gummer.
Yeah.
Now, I started playing with the idea of how to get Burt in the movie. Holograms. Burt set up holograms down in the mine to either help or hinder the people searching for his treasure. It's a real Curly's Gold kind of a movie.
What I'm really enjoying this. I like the way that you're turning
Uh-oh,
him.
you froze on me.
You're
There you are.
essentially, yeah. Am I still frozen?
No, you're back.
I like that you've kind of turned Burt Gummer into Jimmy Durante from It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Right? Everyone's trying to get Bert's gold. Bert's fortune. But what I really like about that is I was going to say, aren't you missing an opportunity for it to be a letter instead of a video? But then you hit me with holograms. And I think that's great because the audience are going to be like, oh, well, if they didn't have a DVD or a video of Bert saying all this, then Michael Gross is definitely not going to be in the movie.
Right.
And then when the holograms come out, they will lose their shit.
Right.
People will be crapping themselves. I was going to say in the movie theater, on their own couch.
Well, I couldn't decide between holograms or in our previous episodes, I had talked about sort of a serialized explanation as to how he's alive.
Yeah.
You know, he gets swallowed by the graboid, but then you see that scene replay, and as the graboid's going over the cliff, you see a knife come out of the belly.
Yeah.
And he is swinging on an intestine into the jungle.
And then he fights Moriarty on the cliff and all sorts of things.
Yeah, right.
No, but I prefer what you...
So I couldn't decide if I save him in that manner and then bring him back to perfection, and people keep seeing him in the mines, but they just think that their grief and or their hysteria at being down in the mines for so long, being chased by dirt dragons and graboids, is making them crazy.
That's great. Yeah, that element, that works too.
So, it's hard for me to choose between those two things, but I kind of liked the idea of Burt Gummer as a hologram because it, sort of speaks to the Tupac kind of thing,
It definitely speaks to, the other aspect of Burt Gummer that brings in, is how adept he is at using modern technology.
Right.
So you've got the, how do you resurrect, a dead celebrity, but, in a way that is actually consistent with Burt Gummer by what we know about him. So I'm all over it. I love it. I don't think you should bring him back from the dead.
Very good then. All right.
So what happens?
Shenanigans ensue.
That's the first 10 minutes of the movie.
No.
Okay.
That gets them to the mine, and the rest of the movie is them in the mine.
Here's a big question. Is there really... is his fortune really there? Or does he have a hidden agenda by sending them down to the mine?
No, I imagine that the treasure's really there.
Okay, so like at some point, someone's gonna be like, maybe this was all a way to.
So it speaks to Bert in this way for me. It speaks to Bert in this way for me. Like he knows that Travis is gonna want money and or silver. He knows his ex-wife is gonna want guns. He knows that Jimmy is going to want approval. So he sends them all down into the mine. But he's not going to just give it to them. They have to work for it. That's the thing.
So,
not
only is he
them
Jimmy
for him,
so
he gives them the critical need-to-know information.
So he's not only Jimmy Durante, he's also the wizard from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. or that uncle from Brewster's Millions.
However you spin it, it's the perfect way to reanimate a dead character. But also the advantage of this sequel is that you get one more movie with Michael Gross, and then what you do after that becomes somebody else's problem. But you don't retcon his death, which is what everyone will be expecting you to do.
So that's why I went with hologram. Yeah.
I mean, we've already. Well, I think we said this in the previous podcast that our options are limited by the fact that he has already played his own ancestor in a prequel.
Right.
So we're out of options.
Because it was the other choice is to go full Curly's Gold and have a twin brother show up, which was considered, by the way.
Yeah. I think that should happen, but like by the time what would be absolutely delicious and again wouldn't compromise your hologram storyline is if when people hear about the fortune a la It's a Mad World, they all jump into speedboats and like cars and planes, and then Burt Gummer's twin brother just turns up but nobody's there anymore. It's like, did I get the right time? Did I miss the funeral? This is Burt Gummer's funeral, right? My brother Burt?
This is Burt's funeral, right?
And there was nobody's there to see him. I think, and then
all right.
I was going to say you could give Burt Gummer a fake nose, but that's heresy to say that because he has the best nose in cinema.
He's got the best nose in the business. Come on.
That's how you know he's a Gummer.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you tell us, which one of these sequels do you want to see? We're going to let you vote.
Do you have a title?
Or just send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. But we'll put out a poll for you.
Yeah. Oh, you did have a title.
Send us an email, if you'd like, to everythingsequel. What's that?
You did have a title this time.
Oh, there's a title.
I know. I'm just so used to you not having titles. I forgot you had a really good one.
I know. I don't know what my problem has been in the last few movies where I just wasn't giving thought to it, but I really wanted to come strong.
Well, you're a title snob, I think. I'm willing to get in there and dirty with the worst possible title for the project.
Oh, yeah, you most assuredly are.
It's part of my process. Whereas with you, I think you start with the movie and then the title has to reflect that. With me, it's very much, if you saw this title, what would this movie be?
Your titles are a full description of the fucking movie.
Yeah. Well, also, God. Speaking about, I've forgotten his name already, the video sequel Hitchcock, who directed the last 3 or 4 of these. Don something.
Michaels?
Something like that. There's a Michael in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what, something that's been rattling around my brain since we've been doing this is, and I'm probably never going to find out, let's face it. What the fuck is Kindergarten Cop 2 about?
Please tell me, yeah.
I'm like, that title is just that should come with a question mark at the end. Kindergarten Cop 2?
Don Michael Paul.
There we go. Well, Hey, between us, we got 2/3 of his
name.
No,
we got most of his name.
If we had a studio guest, we'd be able to say his name. All right. Mike's checking his watch, so we're.
No,
Fred Willard for your consideration.
I have 104 steps to go for 250 steps. That's it. It buzzed on me. But we do need to go. We're running long. So
could the Burt Gummer hologram come out of someone's watch at some point?
I don't know. You mean he planned it? He gave them a watch that had capabilities they were unaware of?
Yeah.
No, okay. I don't like it.
All right.
I like little boxes in the mine where he just shows up, surprising everybody, helping them out.
Moonwalking.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the pitching of a sequel for the Tremors series. You let us know which one you like best. We'll put a poll out in the field. It's going to be tough.
We will.
For Tom Stewart from Lonesome Whistle Productions, I'm Mike Shantz from the How Dare You Awards. We'll see you next time.
I'm completely out of ammo. That's never happened before.
I like to think I know something about beer, but nowadays even I get overwhelmed when confronted by the exhaustive selection of craft beers they have at bars, breweries, and even grocery stores. Back in the day you had one, maybe two craft beers to choose from, and if you were confused, you ordered a Guinness. But in beerstinations like San Diego, the craft beer options lately are in double, sometimes even triple digits. So what's a beer drinker to do? You need what I need, the Vegas Beer Guys. Your beer of choice should be a perfect blend of malt and hops. And so a live show about beer needs that same balance. And the Vegas Beer Guys matches beer expert Dan Aker with self-proclaimed beer novice Stephen J. Weiss. The results are eminently drinkable. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. They'll try new beers, they'll tell you about beer. Think of them as your beer Sherpas guiding you up a foamy-headed mountain to reach the peak of your pint. God, I need a beer.